Hi, and welcome to this last module of the workshop. So there is only one more week to go and a few learning activities to do. And also, I'll tell you already, there is the conclusion part where you have to do a final reflection. So there's 5 more things to do. The learning engagement one is through the module here, the notes. So you have only 4 learning engagement in module 4. I can lead you to that already, I guess. Learning engagement one, as I said, is through the notes. So when you go there, just read the notes through, and you have to think about something, but you don't have to write anything for me about it. So you just go through it, okay? So I'll let you do that. It's like a little inquiry actually that you do. So I'll let you read about that in the notes. Then I gave you a unit plan which is not in mathematics, but I've told you already that in the Program Resource Center on my IB there are other examples of unit plans if you want to look at mathematics examples. So the idea here, if I click on it, is to build inquiry questions, one factual, one conceptual, and one debatable. Of course you can do more, but that's the main thing. And the idea here is, which is pretty hard perhaps at first, is, well, I'm gonna look at the unit plan. You have done already the key concept, the related concepts, some of you have mistaken these, and the global context, and within it here I would put also the exploration. So if you have not done that before, so please do. And the statement of inquiry you have done before. Sometimes we do the conceptual understanding first. You can write down, and then we can write the SOI. Then the inquiry questions is the activity here that you are doing for the second learning engagement, right here. Okay, so you write factual and you just ask question, which starts generally with what. The conceptual would start with how or why, or and debatable would be is it. It's all written down. But the inquiry questions, most of the time you like to think about questions about your topic, which is nice. All of the questions you think about that you build for your topic would go here in content. So specific questions would go right here, okay? Just to make sure. So it's okay to write specific questions about the topic or anything else, but everything that involves the topic goes here, okay? And then you would have the learning process here that you will have to do through this module. They will ask you to think about learning experiences about your ATL, your approach to learning. But if you want to complete the unit plan, you could tell about all of the learning experience within the unit plan. You can summarize things that you just do in direct learning, teaching, just telling things to your students, exercising. You have to do a summary only if you do that. And then all of the more IB activities and teaching of the ATLs will be copied here. So normally in the approaches to learning, you've said what you would do to teach the strategy. This would go back here, like activities that you do in order to do that. And also your grasp authentic task, I would well, it's summary, I know it's a summative, but everything that goes until then, okay? I like here to see like this sequence, what you do from beginning to the end of the unit plan, but not all of the details, but everything which within which there is IB. And the IB philosophy, IB teaching, I would put in here. And there are 3 columns. The formative assessments is how will you verify that your students have understood like things here. And if you see that some students have difficulty, how would you differentiate And also, if you see that some students are done like really fast because you're really good, how could you give them extra challenges? So that's pretty much what we write here in the learning process. So that is for that part. I'm taking like, well, we'll look about it a little bit further. I'm going back here to the inquiry questions. The reason why I went here before talking about the inquiry questions is really because normally you like to ask questions which are related to your topics. Whereas in this first page, any teacher from any subject could read this page, look at the concepts, the global explorations, the statement of inquiry, and since it's not related directly to your topic, most of the time, sometimes we would say cheat a bit to put a few words, but we try to leave it as general as possible so that a teacher, let's say in science or in economics or in another subject, could take the same statement of inquiry and questions and tell himself that he could study that same question in his class. So that's the goal. So conceptual, of course, you might go and talk about the concepts. So what is, say, how does change like happens, let's say, whatever. And factuals, sometimes I ask about the global context exploration. What is something? Okay, we're trying to understand that. And debatable is pretty easy actually, because most of the time when we take a context and we try to sensibilize students to something, then there is often some debate which can go on about that. So that's things that you want to do here in the inquiry questions. Of course, the more you will put examples and that I will comment, the better it will be, I guess. There is somebody in module 3 who has posted questions and it's Lamia, I guess, that asked me like examples. So I've given her some examples of questions, and also I'm referring already to the right here to the my IB and the Program Resource Center. So once again, if you're a new user, just subscribe in and then go in your emails and put in a password and then log in and then assign yourself the role of a teacher, which will be confirmed by your coordinator. Okay, and then you come back and go to the Program Resource Center, which is right here. And then within it, there are a few things that I said I would expect you to look at in the middle year program. First of all, it would be in mathematics, the support material, and if you click on it, then you'll see that you will have examples of unit plans. So that might be useful, right? The second thing that you want to look at actually will be for learning engagement 4, I guess, would be I suggest to go and download an exam. Let's say I think in November 2019. Yes, there are examples, there are a few. So just download the exam, whether that be the extended mathematics program or just a mathematics program. You download the exam for Mac or PC, and then you put it on your computer and you can access it in order to see what it looks like. And you'll see that even within a 2-hour exam, they normally ask for 2 inquiry, investigation of patterns, actually for criterion B for the students, and the way they do that is the way they expect you to do that. So it's a good thing to go and see what they do. There are like questions which would be related to criterion A of diverse difficulty levels, and there would be also a few tasks in criterion D. So you'll see that there are global contexts. There's not only context, but there's something to explore, and they relate it to real life, and they ask the students to do something. So that's why we have to practice that as well, especially if you do the examinations like we do in my school. Okay. Communications is evaluated throughout, okay, the exam, And what I can tell you also is, as they say in the guide, they give marks instead of grading because they want to be, as some like would say in their comments, it might be sometimes subjective. So they want some objectivity in that all of the examinators grade the test, the exams, like so that the results are more reliable. So they put in some grading system, not grading, some marking system within the exam. So that's the idea. So I suggest that you go and pick one here and just open it. You'll have a file which tells you the code that you have to put to practice. It's like ABC123, ABC123, 9999, and then to go out, you take the another menu where you put ABC321, always in capital letter. So just look at it before, it takes a few minutes, and then you open it and you can take a look. It's gonna help you to understand how they will assess criterion A to D. Okay, at this point, I think you're really ready to look at these. So going back, so you see that perhaps by looking at some examples, you can try to build states, questions, okay, inquiry questions. But as I say, all of the questions that you will ask will be good, if not for the inquiry questions, then for the content section, which is here, okay, because we're going deeper and going into the topic. So I know that that part will be more interesting perhaps for you, but the idea of, once again, asking these questions is to allow other teachers to perhaps have ideas and want to collaborate with you in order to build interdisciplinary activities and unit plans. Okay, so that's the main point. Then, if I go back to Module 4, we have here learning experiences. As I said, is to write that part besides the content, and I suggest that you do as much as you can, because your unit plan will be asked by your coordinator then, and it's going to be more complete. And then if I look at the others really fast, in the learning engagement 4, it's assessment forum. Actually, you have a video, but I suggest that you go, as I said, and just take a look at the mathematics exam from the IB, okay. And then in learning engagement 5, it's to tell me what you've learned about the projects, okay. It's either the MYP personal project or the community project. So I gave you also the further guidance for projects here, that guide which you will use if you have to evaluate, assess a personal project. Okay, so that will be important. So just the idea is just to know, to make sure that you understand that it exists. If you are a supervisor, you already know that, but still, just take a look and try to find a few things which are new. And then the conclusion, even though it's module 4, fourth week, the conclusion has to be done also, okay. So just to put on your final reflections. Once again, the workshop will be we can access the workshop for 6 months after it's done. So if you want to look back at the comments, I hope that workshop has been helpful in sorting out things from the IB and to giving you the basis in order to teach the IB program and to respect, let's say, to the standards and and practices actually of the IB, and to better know the program. So I hope you, even if you are really busy and you probably lacked some sleep, that you've found something which was useful for your continuation within the IB program. So I'm gonna read everything. Perhaps I'm gonna give myself a few days after Tuesday next week, and it's gonna be it. So it has been nice meeting you all. Okay, thank you.